Ladies and gentlemen, 17 minutes is all it takes to shift your energy, sharpen your mind, and awaken the strength already within you. This isn't just movement. It's a practice to conquer the chaos, rise above limits, and stand rooted in your own power. With every breath, you claim focus. With every posture, you build resilience. And in just 17 minutes, you step into a version of yourself that's ready to take on the world. This is your time. This is your practice. Let's roll out the mat and begin, because your body and mind are ready for more. 17 minutes, that's it. 17 minutes might not sound like much in a world that constantly tells us we need to do more, push harder, go longer. But here's the truth, 17 minutes is enough. It's enough to change the direction of your day. It's enough to shift your energy, and it's enough to remind your body and mind that you are capable of so much more than you think. Too often, we get stuck in the belief that transformation requires hours, or that self-care must be complicated and time-consuming. But the beauty of this practice is in its simplicity. 17 minutes is short enough to fit into even the busiest schedule, yet powerful enough to create real, lasting change. Think about it. In less time than it takes to scroll through your phone or watch a short episode of a show, you could be moving, breathing, and reconnecting to yourself. And when you give yourself those 17 minutes, you're not just stretching muscles or holding poses. You're sending a message to your entire system. You're saying, I matter, my health matters, my peace matters. That's powerful. The moment you roll out your mat, you're creating space to slow down, space to breathe, space to listen to what your body needs today. And in that space, something shifts. The weight you've been carrying starts to feel lighter. The noise in your mind begins to quiet down. You start to notice your breath, your posture, the way your body feels from the inside out. 17 minutes isn't about checking a box or proving something to anyone. It's about coming back to yourself right here, right now. And here's the secret: consistency beats intensity. One big effort every now and then doesn't compare to small, steady steps that you take each day. 17 minutes may not feel like much today, but stack those minutes day after day, and you've built a practice that strengthens your body, sharpens your mind, and elevates your spirit. That's how real change happens, not in the grand gestures, but in the simple choices you make again and again. You'll find that when you give yourself these 17 minutes, it ripples into the rest of your life. You stand a little taller, you breathe a little deeper, you approach challenges with more patience and clarity. Suddenly, things that felt overwhelming seem a little more manageable. That's because you've reminded your body and mind how to work together, how to find balance in the middle of chaos. So the next time you think you don't have enough time, remember this: 17 minutes is enough. Enough to reset your energy, enough to shift your mindset, enough to remind you of your strength. It doesn't have to be long to be meaningful. It just has to be intentional. If there's one thing that holds it all together, your movement, your mind, your sense of calm, it's the breath. Breath is the anchor. It's the bridge between body and mind, the constant reminder that you are alive, present, and capable of returning to balance no matter what's happening around you. And yet, how often do we forget to breathe with intention? We move through our days on autopilot, caught in distractions, barely aware of how shallow or rushed our breathing has become. But the moment you come to the mat, you're invited to bring your awareness back to this simple, powerful rhythm. Every inhale is fuel. It's the life force that nourishes your muscles, clears your head, and energizes your spirit. Every exhale is release. It's the letting go of tension, of stress, of the weight you've been carrying without even realizing it. When you begin to connect movement with breath, something incredible happens. You stop just going through the motions and start experiencing the practice in its fullest depth. You begin to feel that your body is not separate from your mind, that your thoughts are not separate from your actions. They're all woven together through this one steady current of breath. Breath teaches you presence. Think about it. When you focus on a long, slow inhale and a mindful exhale, you can't be anywhere else but here. You're not stuck in yesterday's mistakes or tomorrow's worries. You're grounded in this moment, in this practice, in this exact space you're creating for yourself. That presence is what clears the fog from your mind and allows clarity to rise up. That's why we say the breath is your anchor. When the storm gets strong, when the mind gets busy, when life feels heavy, you can always come back to the breath. It's your tool, it's your refuge, and it's always available. As the body begins to open, as the muscles begin to warm, your breath carries you deeper. It allows you to hold a posture longer, to move with more fluidity, to surrender where you might otherwise resist. The body learns to trust the breath, and the mind follows. This is where yoga becomes more than exercise. This is where it becomes a practice of self-awareness, of resilience, of peace. And here's the truth: when you master your breath on the mat, you learn to master your breath off the mat too. The next time stress rises, the next time your heart races, the next time you feel scattered, you'll know how to pause, inhale deeply, and exhale fully. That one simple act can shift your state of mind, calm your nervous system, and give you the clarity to move forward with grace. Movement creates momentum. It doesn't have to be fast. It doesn't have to be flashy. It doesn't even have to look like much on the outside. What matters is that you begin. When you choose to move your body with intention, you send a message that you're ready to shift, to open, to grow. That first stretch, that first posture, that first conscious flow of energy is like lighting a spark. It sets everything in motion. So often we wait for motivation before we take action. We tell ourselves we'll start when we feel inspired, or when life slows down, or when things are more convenient. But the truth is, waiting rarely brings momentum. It's movement that creates it. The moment you roll your shoulders back, lift your chest, and begin to flow with the breath, your entire system comes alive. Muscles awaken, joints loosen, and circulation increases, carrying oxygen to every cell. What once felt stuck begins to move, and suddenly, you're not just stretching your body, you're shifting your energy. This is why even a short practice is powerful. It teaches us that we don't need to wait for the perfect conditions to feel better. We just need to start where we are. A gentle twist, a forward fold, a mindful lunge. Each simple posture builds upon the last. Each one adds a little more fuel to your inner fire. And before you realize it, those small, steady movements have built a momentum that carries you beyond the mat into the rest of your day. Movement also creates connection. As you flow from one posture to another, synced with your breath, you begin to notice the subtle rhythms within your own body. The rise and fall of your chest, the stretch and release of your muscles, the way your feet press firmly into the ground. These small connections remind you that you are not separate pieces. You are a whole, living system working together in harmony. When body, mind, and breath begin moving as one, you tap into a state of flow that feels effortless, yet deeply powerful. And here's the beautiful part. Once you create momentum on the mat, it doesn't stop there. That energy follows you. Suddenly, you find yourself approaching tasks with more clarity, conversations with more patience, and challenges with more resilience. What felt heavy starts to feel lighter. What felt overwhelming starts to feel possible. That's the gift of momentum. It doesn't just move your body, it moves your life. So don't underestimate the power of beginning, even with the smallest step. One posture, one breath, one mindful movement, it's enough to start the ripple. And once the ripple begins, it grows, it expands, it carries you forward. Strength isn't just about how long you can hold a pose or how much you can push your body. True strength begins in the mind. It's about awareness, the ability to notice what's happening inside you, to catch the patterns, the habits, and the stories you tell yourself, and then to choose how you respond. On the mat, that awareness starts small. You notice how your body feels as you move. You notice where there's tightness, where there's ease, where the breath flows smoothly, and where it gets stuck. And in that noticing, you begin to discover something bigger. You are not just reacting to life. You are capable of responding with clarity and choice. Every posture is an opportunity to practice this. When the muscles start to tremble, when the mind says, "I can't hold this any longer," that's the exact moment awareness steps in. Instead of giving up or forcing yourself, you pause, you breathe, and you ask, "What do I need right now? Do I soften? Do I hold steady? Do I lean in just a little more?" That's where strength is built. Not in ignoring what you feel, but in learning to listen with honesty and respond with intention. The more you practice this kind of mindful awareness on the mat, the more it shows up everywhere else. Suddenly, the moments that used to overwhelm you don't have the same grip. Instead of reacting on impulse, you take a breath. You step back, you observe. That's strength. That's resilience. It's not about never feeling stressed or never facing challenges. It's about having the presence of mind to meet those moments without losing yourself. Awareness also teaches you compassion. When you notice your body's limits, when you respect its boundaries, you begin to understand that strength is not about domination. It's about harmony. You're not here to conquer your body, you're here to support it. You're not here to silence your thoughts, you're here to guide them. That awareness deepens trust within yourself, and that trust becomes an unshakable foundation. What's powerful is how subtle this practice can be. You don't have to move fast, you don't have to push to extremes. Simply paying attention, really paying attention, to the way your body feels, to the quality of your breath, to the thoughts that arise, begins to build a strength that is far greater than muscle alone. It's the kind of strength that carries you through difficult conversations, long days, and unexpected challenges with a steady heart and a clear mind. Balance is one of those words we hear all the time. We're told to find balance in our schedules, in our diet, in our relationships. But balance isn't something you stumble upon by chance. It's something you practice over and over again. And nowhere does that become clearer than on the mat. The moment you lift one foot off the ground, the moment you challenge your stability, you realize how much focus, patience, and awareness it really takes to stay centered. At first, balance feels shaky. You wobble, you fall out of poses, your mind races with frustration. But here's the lesson. Balance isn't about perfection. It's about presence. It's about noticing when you sway, when you stumble, and instead of giving up, you come back. You try again. That's what balance looks like, not just in yoga, but in life. Every time you find your center in a pose, you're training more than your muscles. You're training your mind. You're teaching yourself that stability is not a fixed point, but a constant adjustment. You shift, you breathe, you realign. And that's exactly how life works. Balance in the body reflects balance in the mind. The two are never separate. When the body steadies, the mind begins to steady as well. And the truth is, Balance doesn't mean everything is equal. It doesn't mean standing perfectly still. It means knowing how to distribute your energy wisely. Sometimes you lean forward, sometimes you root down, sometimes you reach higher. It's not about staying rigid. It's about staying adaptable. On the mat, balance teaches you flexibility in both body and thought. Off the mat, it teaches you how to handle the unexpected with grace. What's beautiful is that balance also reveals your relationship with patience. Because when you rush, when you try to force it, you fall. But when you slow down, when you breathe, when you give yourself permission to wobble and realign, you find steadiness in the most natural way. That patience you practice here becomes the same patience that carries you through long days, through stressful moments, through times when life doesn't go as planned. Balance also reminds you that stillness is powerful. In a world that's always moving, always demanding more, it's easy to believe that faster and louder are better. But when you stand rooted in balance, you discover the quiet strength of stillness. You realize that true stability doesn't come from doing more, but from being fully present in the moment you're in. Every time you practice balance, you're practicing trust. Trust in your body, trust in your breath, trust in yourself. And when that trust grows, balance becomes less about the posture and more about the life you're creating outside the mat. At the heart of all this, the breath, the movement, the awareness, the balance is a simple but profound truth. You already have everything you need within you. The strength, the clarity, the focus, the peace. It's not something you have to chase or search for out there. It's already here waiting for you to claim it. This practice isn't about becoming someone new. It's about remembering who you already are. Every posture you step into, every mindful breath you take, every moment you choose presence over distraction, it's all training. Not training to conquer the world outside, but training to recognize the power inside. Because when you connect with that, you realize that the real victory isn't about how perfect your practice looks or how strong your body feels. It's about how deeply you can show up for yourself. There's a shift that happens when you begin to see yoga as more than movement. You notice that the resilience you build on the mat is the same resilience you carry into challenges at work, in relationships, in your own thoughts. You start to recognize that the patience you cultivate here shows up in your conversations, in the way you face uncertainty, in the way you handle stress. That's because this practice is not separate from your life. It is your life, distilled into 17 minutes of clarity. And here's what's most powerful. When you claim that inner power, it doesn't just stay with you, it radiates. It influences how you treat others, how you walk into a room, how you hold yourself in the world. Your presence shifts. You stop moving from a place of fear or doubt, and you begin moving from a place of grounded confidence. That's not just good for you, that's good for everyone around you. What you realize is that conquering the world doesn't mean overpowering it. It means standing fully in your truth, rooted in strength, guided by awareness, balanced in body and mind. It means leading with calm in the middle of chaos. It means stepping into each moment knowing that you are enough, exactly as you are. 17 minutes may not seem like much, but every time you choose to return to your practice, you're choosing to return to that truth. You're choosing to step into your power. You're choosing to remind yourself that no matter what life throws at you, you can meet it with clarity, resilience, and grace. 17 minutes, that's all it takes to create a shift you can feel in your body and carry in your mind. With each breath, you've anchored yourself. With each movement, you've built momentum. With each moment of balance and awareness, you've claimed your inner strength. This practice is more than poses. It's a reminder that clarity, resilience, and peace are already within you. So step off your mat standing taller, breathing deeper, and trusting yourself more. You've done the work. Now take this energy with you and let it guide the rest of your day.